The thing is, I say I bought it for my birthday. I buy action figures all the fucking time. And it's just this one just happened to show up my birthday, and I'm like, yeah, this is my birthday gift to myself, dude.
Like, imagine if I had like a shelf full of video games.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
And I'm like, but I'm like, no, I hear that, I get you, but I'm still gonna worry about it anyway, and I don't know why.
Not on my channel. Have not even touched my Pokemon Unite game to even start it. Have not even pressed start recording. Don't even ask. It's not gonna happen.
I'm drinking this absolutely ungodly amount of soda.
Not sponsored.
Cover that. I was hungry and I wanted a burger, and I'm not eating enough food, so I was like, all right, I'll get a large combo, So I did, and
did you get the 4 for 4?
The what?
The 4 for 4.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
You get 4. It's not called entrees, but you get 4 options for $4.
Oh.
So, sandwich, fries, a drink, something else.
No, I just
4
got
things.
I just got a Baconator combo. A large Baconator combo. It was like $15.
15?
Shit's so expensive. I don't. That's like.
Why is it so expensive?
Like $10 in American, $11, something like that.
Yeah, but that's still a lot. I'd rather get the 4 for 4.
Well, I don't have the 4 for 4 in Canada. Maybe I do. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, look harder.
Wendy's is the Baconator place and nothing else.
Like, that's true. I like their bacon stuff.
Nothing else they sell is even worth.
As far as like
glance
fast food prices, like everything's gone up. My girlfriend brought me Raising Cane's while I was at work, and
is it Raising Cane's or Rising Cane's? I always thought it was
Raising.
Oh,
Raising. Yeah. So a box combo, which is 4 tenders, comes with fries. It's got a thing of coleslaw which you can swap out for an extra toast or something, and then you got a toast. And then it comes with a drink. It's like a medium-sized drink. That's like their medium-sized combo. So that used to be around like $8 or $9 US, and now it's like I want to say 10, 12, something like that. And then their largest combo used to be like $12.50. It would be like 6 pieces, and you get I think it still comes with 1 piece of toast, but you get two dipping sauces. And that was like $12.50, but now it's like almost $15. I'm like, geez, inflation is like going crazy right now.
You can get chicken strips, but can you get macaroni with the chicken strips?
No, they don't sell macaroni. Raising Cane specializes in they only sell chicken. If it's not chicken, they put the chicken strips in like some bread, or like they have chicken like in as a sandwich. That's it. They only sell chicken.
I should be the one guy to show up. I was gonna say foreigner, but I'm not technically a foreigner. I'm still on the same continent.
You're still in America. You're still in North America. You're American, right?
No, I'm not American, and I will never be American. No, I will never be American. I should just show up. Do they have a drive-through, or is this like one of those fancy American places that you gotta like?
They do have a drive-through. Yeah.
Go to the drive-through. I'll ask for a Big Mac, and when they kick me out, I will be serious, and because I don't have the social. I don't know how. This is totally off topic. I've been seeing a lot of videos on TikTok though about those guys that they're just like, all right, it's like asking or like using cheesy pickup lines, but like for real. I'm sure some of it's still actually staged, but I'm always just like, all the comments are people being like, wow, this guy has like an ungodly amount of Riz. So I know what Riz is now. I've never heard that term before, but I know what that is.
I found out what Riz meant like a month ago.
Okay, Jesus.
Bit of a backstory. I did a lot of online school for the last few years, and this year was like the first year that I like go like in person. And I've met a bunch of college kids, and they started bringing up this term W-Riz, and I'm like, what does this mean? So I look up on like Urban Dictionary, and it's basically like
it's charisma.
my generation's term called pull game. Pull game is like the ability to attract.
Pull game.
Yeah, pull. So pull the act of pulling, right? And pretty self-explanatory. You attract.
Like it's a gotcha game.
Attract people. I got a 5-star.
Oh my god.
I got a 5-star one. Oh,
also,
man.
what do you mean your generation? Are we not in the same generation?
Bruh. No, because
what?
I'm pretty sure you've probably never heard of pool game.
I mean, I've heard of pull out game, but I don't know if that's exactly the same thing.
Oh, no. Oh man.
Because in school, that's like, I mean, the thing is, like, it was weird because, like, I hear about it now, like, when adults are, like, when they hear a 6th grader talking about, like weird stuff, people are always like, oh, my God, like, you should know about that. And I'm like, man, when I was in 5th grade, that's what, like, kids were talking about. And I felt so weird about it because, kids would talk about sex and stuff, and I was like, ew, cuties. And I always thought they, like, looking back on it, I'm like, bro, there was no way any of those kids were having sex. But they talked about it all the time, and it was just like, oh, my God, they're so cool. Because it's like, I'm sure they just went on the hub once and was like, I'm now well-versed in the world of sex. And,
I'm an expert now.
Yeah, so it's like, anyway. But I would see these TikToks and of these guys just walking up and just saying the dumbest stuff. And it never worked, but I was always just like, man, all the comments are either Riz or this man does not have social anxiety. Social anxiety has him. And it's like, because it's like, but I'm like, man, I wish I had that kind of like, because like I get nervous. Like when my neighbor, like I'm outside and my dog is taking a pee and my neighbors walk by and I'm like, oh God, I'm wearing fucking like these pants and stuff. And I'm like, I got new shirts recently. And I'm like, oh God, is this shirt like too big? And I'm like, I don't know why I care so much because I'm like, realistically, if my neighbor was like, hey, that shirt looks dumb, I'd be like, okay. And like, I'd probably be a little bit like, oh, okay, well, maybe I won't wear that shirt no more until like a day later. I'm like, no, I like this shirt. I'm going to wear this shirt anyway. So I'm like, I don't know why I have such bad social anxiety. It's why I'm like, it's why I like working the night shift because I don't have to see that many people. But oh my God. Excuse me.
Speaking of, we were talking about like generational differences. I saw this one clip. It was like, it was like the daughter and like her husband, and she would ask them the same question. She would be like, okay, so how do you call or how do you talk on the phone? And the daughter, she like goes like this, and then she asks the same question to the husband, and he goes like this. It's just
rock
so funny,
on, dude.
and then she asked like, she asked the daughter like, oh, can you like take a picture for me? And then she also did this as like selfie mode, and then this like the front camera, and then you click, like you're pressing the button, and then of course she asked the husband, oh, can you take a picture for me? He did this like a normal camera, or like what I guess cameras used to be.
I mean,
but
you can still, if you press
ancient,
the volume button, if you press the volume button, it acts like a camera, like it takes the photo.
Those are more for like group pictures, I guess. But if you're asking one person for a picture, I'm pretty sure most of the time you take it in portrait mode.
I almost just sent you a fucking Wikipedia article on something.
What?
I was looking up because you were saying you were talking about generational gaps, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm Gen Z. And I went to go look it up, and I had it on my phone, and then I was doing that on my phone, and then it tried to share, and the first thing that popped up was you to send it to. And I'm like, no.
Nice.
No, because I was like, I hate that I'm in Gen Z because I don't relate to anyone in Gen Z. And I'm like, I mean, I was always like, I mean, growing up, I was always told that I was very mature for my age, which looking back, I think I was being groomed, but that's not, well, I had a lot of older people that were like a little too friendly with me that I look back on now and I'm like, oh, and I would hear stuff later and I'm like, okay, I kind of dodged a bullet with that one. Like,
that's so weird.
So yeah, no, but Gen Z is from, where's the fucking age gap? Because my brother, I'm pretty sure, is a millennial by like this much. I think he's cut off like just slightly. Gen Z is mid 1990s to mid 2010s. So that's like
Wow,
that's
I
it.
am
But
Gen
also, but
Z.
the thing about
What?
that is that's such a huge generational, like that's such a long period of time to encapsulate a whole like generation, especially with how fast time is changing. Because I'm like from where I when I was born to when my sister was born is like 5 years, and between the two of us, there's already a huge gap and
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure. Because
But
like
it's
when I,
tough to
like
tell if
1990s, like my oldest sister was born in like 1992, and I'm over
okay,
here sitting in 2000,
yeah,
and she's
90,
like 30
90
years old.
yeah, 92 would be a millennial. It's like 90. I think it's like middle. I think it's like middle of 96 is the cutoff.
Oh,
So
90.
if you were
Okay.
born in like late 96, then you're technically considered Gen Z. So no.
Even so, like my
Then
sister who's 2 years older than me is like I feel that gap.
then it just occurred to me that my brother is technically Gen Z. But like that's what I mean is that I'm like between me and my brother. I mean, my brother is also more of an old soul anyway. So it's
How
like
old is he?
he's
What does that make me?
he's 25.
Oh, okay. I'm only 22.
So I'm like but that's the thing is like between me and you, there's 3 years, and there's not too many things that I'm like, oh wow, no, Davis is old. I can't think of anything that's like occurred to me that I'm like, no, I can't relate to this at all. Outside of like, I mean, I've never played tennis before, so I can't really relate to when you're like, yeah, I did this really cool tennis thing. I'm like, all right, it sounds neat, but like, I don't know how actually great it is until I've played tennis myself. Um,
Yeah, we have a lot of things in common, and it doesn't really feel like we have that generational gap.
I mean, again, 3 years, not that. I remember. I think I've said this on the podcast. So I was born December of 2003. So
Uh-huh.
fuck off. What do you mean?
That's a run-on sentence. 2000 and
Whatever. Fucking sue me. God, sorry, that just unlocked like a fucking memory from like preschool. We had a thing on the wall in the classroom where it was numbers 1 to 100 on the side of the on the wall. And when we get to 100, it's like, all right, what do you say? Do you say 101 or do you? And I'm like, everyone's like, no, we say 101. And then she's like, no. And then, yeah,
Wait, you don't say 101?
that's what I'm like, no, I think you'd say like 102, 103, 104, right? And she's like, no, you just say 10, like 101, 102, 103. And I'm like, okay,
What?
all right, for
Wait,
sure.
I was taught to say the and.
Yeah, well, the thing is I don't know who taught us to say the and because she was our preschool teacher, and yet we were all saying and. So I'm like, I don't know who the fuck. I don't know where we learned that shit. Probably like Bubble Guppies or some shit. Actually, I think I was not in preschool when that show came out. I was older than that. I missed out on Bubble Guppies by a little bit. I was just slightly too
I've
old.
never heard of Bubble Guppies.
It's a 2011 Disney Channel show. Don't worry
Oh,
about
I
it.
didn't have Disney. I didn't have Disney. Okay.
I'm in such a weird gap for Disney Channel stuff because I'll talk about certain shows with people like my age, and they're like, I don't know, I never heard of that in my life, and they're like, and they were watching Disney Channel at the same time, and I'm like, did I just find some fucking back alley of Disney Channel? That, like what's going on? Because it's
You
like
had the bootleg one.
well, no, but it's funny because the people I watched on Disney Channel are like, they're all doing stuff now, and it's weird because I didn't realize most of them are like my age. I think some of them are slightly older than me. But like, what's her name? Olivia Rodrigo, I think her name is. She does like music and stuff.
Yeah.
She was on Bizarrevark when I was watching Disney Channel. And I think she's like 20.
Yeah, my girlfriend's actually reading a book about someone who used to be on Disney. Wait. I
Oh.
had this conversation with her, and I said, "Yeah, like I don't know too many like Disney stars." And then she had corrected me and said, "Oh, actually, she's from Nickelodeon." So I'm not sure if it's actually Disney or Nickelodeon, but she used to be a star on one of those channels, and like her mom would always be like super mean to her,
Oh,
and
Jeanette McCurdy?
she
She was on
blonde
iCarly?
hair.
Yeah, she was on iCarly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. She wrote a book about how like
yeah. Yeah.
she got treated like trash by her mom, and I think the book was called like I'm glad she's dead or something like that.
It's something along those lines. Yeah, she talked about how because she was on iCarly, and I liked iCarly. I was like towards the end of it, but I liked iCarly. And hearing now, she talked about how that basically she didn't even like acting that much, but she became like the breadwinner for the family. So she then like felt like she had no choice but to just keep going with it because it's like, well, we got to pay the bill somehow, and it's like that should not be a kid's job. Like, holy
Oh my
fuck,
gosh.
like dear
That's
lord.
terrible.
So it's like, yeah, hearing that stuff now and people are being like it's like, oh, she's very cruel, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like your mom treats you like that. It's like I'm not gonna sit here and be like good riddance, but still, I'm like I can definitely see what she's saying. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm also I won't get into that. But I forget where I was going with this Disney Channel talk. I was gonna say because what? Oh,
Yeah,
because
you were talking about Olivia Rodrigo.
well,
before.
she's only slightly older than me. And that's man, it's people like her though that make me feel like such a failure because I'm like, man, she's she's like slightly older than me, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing in my life?
Bro, she's young. She's younger than me. What do you think? How do you think I feel?
Well, no, you're doing stuff though. I'm like, I haven't left the house in like a week. No, but I watched Wednesday recently. It's a new Netflix show.
Oh right.
And it has Jenna Ortega in it, and I watched her on the Disney Channel. She was on the show called Stuck in the Middle. And I remember watching her in that show, and I was like, oh, this show's fine. And then I like completely forgot about it. And then suddenly I was just seeing her everywhere because of Wednesday, and I had watched something else she was in. Oh, Scream. The Scream 5. It came out like last year. Or no, it came out this year actually. I think it came out in the summer.
It's been a long year.
That Scream. I like horror movies. And it came out in January. Christ. I like horror movies, and so I was like, it was fairly late at night, and I was like, I don't know if I want to watch a horror movie at like 11 o'clock at night, but like, screw it, I'll watch it. That movie is not a horror movie. It is pure comedy. That movie is so fucking funny. Like it doesn't pretend to be like there's a lot of references to the older Scream films, and I've never watched them. But oh my god, that movie is so funny. It has Jack Quaid in it too, and Jack Quaid's a legend. I know this has nothing to do with anime, but I don't care. Scream 5 is great. I watched it without any. I mean, I shouldn't say any knowledge. There's like, I mean, I shouldn't say it's pure comedy. There's like some gross shit. Literally, the first like 10 minutes is some girl getting like stabbed. So I'm like, that part wasn't that funny. I'll be honest. But there was so many scenes later on that it's so funny. But yeah. So anyway, I watched her in that and Wednesday. Wednesday was pretty good. It's a little like corny in some areas for sure. It's like a teen romance like kind of thing, and the romance
It gives me
side.
like I haven't seen it, but it reminds me of Twilight for some reason.
Oh, it is.
I don't know why.
It's not. It's not. It's nothing like Twilight. Well, I shouldn't say nothing like Twilight, but the well, actually, now that you're saying that, fuck, it is. There's actually quite a few similarities.
The vibes are there. I haven't even watched like a second of it, and I could already tell.
Well,
It might be different.
I knew of the Addams Family and stuff, and I was like not planning on watching it. I was interested because I like Jenna Ortega, and like pretty much everything I've like seen her in, I like her in it. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll check it out. And then forgot about it. And then on TikTok, there's a scene in the show where she does like a dance, And that scene for some reason blew up and was everywhere on TikTok. But it was set to the song Bloody Mary, which is not the song that plays in the show. In the show, it's some like country song. And I don't know who was like, I assume someone was just listening to Lady Gaga and was like, oh yeah, this is what I need to, this would go perfect here. And it just blew up from there. But yeah, so I watched that and I was like, oh, this looks cool. And then I watched the show, and it was pretty solid. There's some stuff in it that's very much like, all right, this is definitely made for like 15-year-olds. And I'm so much more mature than that. But it was pretty funny. It was a solid, like, I give it like a good like 7 or 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Good show. Not anime though, unfortunately. So I'm like, I haven't really watched too much anime recently.
Yeah, I've been so like the past week my girlfriend was in town because she had like a bit of a vacation, and I had told you guys like she picked up a book, and I was with her and I got some of my own books, so this one that I'm reading right now.
I legitimately, because you were like, my girlfriend was in town, and then you looked over, I was like, is she sitting right there?
No.
Just like walk in like a fucking Seinfeld character, like, oh, hey guys.
Hey guys, So no, she went back already, but I know the image might be flipped, but this
Norny Wody.
It's called Iron Widow, and it's like the first book I've read in, I want to say 10 years. I would say 8 years. But basically, it's basically how I explained it to you earlier was, it's like Pacific Rim, right? But there's some like cultural stuff, and like, they make it to where the guys, or like the men, are like, in charge, very patriarch society, and like the women are to be sacrificed as what they call concubine pilots, pilots that like power up the mechas. They're sacrificed so that the men can use the mecha to its full potential. But the plot twist is the Iron Widow, right? The main character actually sacrifices the guy, and now she's controlling the mecha, and then that's how basically the story starts. Pretty much, part 1 is like the main character wanting to get revenge on the guy who had sacrificed her sister. She's like older than the main character, and so whenever she comes of age, she's like, okay, I'm gonna get back at the pilot that killed my sister. And so she enrolls, and then she exacts her revenge. Not really a spoiler, it's in like the synopsis in the cover of the book, so I'm okay with sharing that. But now I am just about to start the second part of the book, which is like the Way of the Bird, and like she's confronted with another pilot, and he pilots it's called the Vermilion Bird. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. I love it so far. It was a little bit more mature than I intended. When I was going to find this book, it was in like the young readers section, which are supposed to be for like middle schoolers. I think the age group is like up to like 10 or 14 years old, something like that. But I'm still liking this book. There was a part where I was like, I wasn't really sure if like that should be included for kids, but if it's for like, middle schoolers, I think they'd already know about, that conversation about like, the doing the deed, right? Yeah, you gotta, it wasn't like, they didn't actually get into it, but it was leading up to it, and I was like, is this like turning into some sexual thing?
Right, am I reading 50 Shades of Grey?
But I was like, okay, let's not make it weird, right? It's just romance, right? It's just a little bit of romance. And I read I heard some reviews and how there was like some relationship stuff in the book. So yeah, there's gonna be some romance, and I'm like, okay, let's not get weird about.
Oh my god, are they gonna make Whoopi if we're gonna sound like old people?
I think it's more focused on like the mecha and the fighting stuff.
Where did I hear that? Sorry, I just That's not
Well,
my. I've heard that joke before. Make whoopee. I don't know where.
not from me.
I've
never
definitely
heard
heard that before. Sorry. Just,
The second book I got from this exact same author. It's called Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor.
yeah, it's sick. Awesome.
So, how this was advertised by the author, like on Twitter, they basically described it as like Yu-Gi-Oh, in the sense that the main character possesses like another like ancient body, or it has like another inhabitant in their body. And in this case, it's like the Dragon Emperor as opposed to like Yugi's ancient Egyptian pharaoh. So I'm not exactly sure what this book is about, but just hearing the word Yu-Gi-Oh, because at that time, it was like when you and I were both heavily involved in Master Duel. I just read the word Yu-Gi-Oh and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick up that book whenever it comes out. So
I hear Yu-Gi-Oh, then I black out, and suddenly I'm back at home with a giant stack of books, and I'm like, how did I get here?
But yeah, I had been waiting for this book for like a really long time, and I finally was able to pick it up. I say finally, but I like hardly ever read. There's some books over here, and I had not touched a single one of them, except when I bought them.
That's my book collection right there, and I've read. Actually, half of them are comics. Actually, no, I've read all of those.
Nice.
No, I have. No, that's a lie. I have a book called YouTube Channel for Dummies. I have not read that entire thing, but I have read a good chunk of it.
I mean, maybe you have been reading it recently because your channel has been blowing up.
It was. Then I stopped uploading for a week because I got sad and I got a little sicky, and then I didn't upload anything.
But still, the amount of growth is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool. It's been cool. But I also get in my own head about stuff because I'm like, oh man, it's like fun making videos, and then I get an idea to do something else, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want to try this because it's not Overwatch. But I'm also like, I'm not gonna make Overwatch videos forever, so I might as well try some other things. And then
I think you should still throw them in because like I've been keeping up. Well, I haven't been keeping up with like the last 2 Overwatch videos.
It's been a week. What do you mean? No, okay.
But yeah, like I mean, it doesn't feel like your other content was taken away from like your Overwatch content as far as like, oh, this isn't what I want to see. I'd rather see this instead. I still think it was, digestible, entertaining, and fun to watch. So, I've been struggling on my own, like with my own YouTube shenanigans. I like last week, I was like, man, I really want to start like a tennis YouTube channel, so I can document like just like my progress, maybe some match stuff I do. I recently bought a it's called Zep 2 tennis sensor because they had like an older model, but this is the newer model. Bruh. And basically it tracks your here, I'll just read it. Zep Tennis 2 is an evolution of the world's most powerful swing analyzer. Track, practice, and match statistics and compare against other players to gain powerful insights about your performance. So it basically just records the balls you hit, how you hit them,
why you hit
where
them.
you hit them, why you hit them, why you exist. No, I'm kidding.
He goes in the meaning of life. Holy shit, this thing's great.
It tells you how to live your life. No, I'm kidding.
Holy crap.
But yeah, it shows you like how fast like the ball is spinning. I mean, I'm not sure how it does it because it just attaches like on the bottom of the racket down here. But it's it's really cool. I was really nervous at first. I opened it up yesterday.
Sorry, what is that? Kermit the Frog back there? Why am I just seeing that? What the fuck? I've never seen that before.
Triceratops.
Has that always been there?
Yeah, it's always been there.
Why? How the fuck am I just seeing this for the first time?
At least in the last few podcast episodes, it has.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, you're fine. But yeah, I opened it up and I wanted to charge it, but like none of the when you charge it, there's a light that comes on indicating that it's charging, but the light wasn't coming on. So I was like, did I just get scammed? So like for the next 30 minutes after that, I was like, looking up on the website, like, okay, my charger isn't working, or like my sensor isn't charging. Like, how do I fix this? But then I leave it on the charger for like another 30 minutes, and then the light comes on finally. So, in my head, I'm thinking like, oh, it probably just died and it can't produce light because it's dead. So maybe it just needs like a little bit of charge so that it can wake up and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to try it out. Sadly, it's been raining here, or it rained today, but it's supposed to clear up tomorrow. But sadly, I work tomorrow, so I can play on Thursday instead. And another exciting thing, I spent like 300 smackaroos on some tennis rackets that I definitely don't need, but I think are really cool because how there's like sneaker heads. I'm a racket head. I just like buying
sneaker heads. What the fuck is
are they called sneaker? Like they sneaker, like the people that like buy a lot of sneakers just to have them and to look cool.
I don't know about the looking cool part, but yeah,
we have our collection niches. I collect cards and tennis rackets, and Matthew collects action figures, reads manga.
Yeah, I just got you can kind of see him. He's right there. I just got a Todoroki Amazing Yamaguchi figure.
That's right.
Pretty cool.
For your
pretty
birthday.
Cool.
Oh yeah, happy birthday to the Matthew on the podcast if you're listening.
Thanks. Excuse me. I originally, you won't be able to see this either, but originally I bought that Iron Man for my birthday. And then the thing is, I say I bought it for my birthday. I buy action figures all the fucking time. And it's just, this one just happened to show up my birthday, and I'm like, yeah, this is my birthday gift to myself.
Nice.
So then I was like, all right, and the Iron Man showed up like last week, and I was like, okay, this will be my birthday present, and the Todoroki will be my Christmas present to myself. And then the Todoroki showed up on my birthday, so now I'm like, all right, my Christmas gift to myself is all the figures I've bought this year, and my Christmas gift will be not spending money, so I'm not broke going into the new year. Because, oh my god,
the entire year you're like spending on stuff, and you're like, this is my birthday present. This is my Christmas present.
My
shows
fucking
up in June.
Credit card is in a constant state of being maxed out. I haven't seen less than 4 digits in years.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Oh Christ.
Speaking of like Christmas though, I mentioned my girlfriend came to town like last week, and aside from going to the bookstore to buy books, we also went to Target, and we just walked around. We were gonna buy ourselves like some matching pajamas, to be cute, like couple stuff. And so we would walk around the toy section. Every time we go to Target, I would always walk towards the card section. I want to see what Pokemon card stuff they have. Sometimes they'll have some. Why are you laughing? I'm just a little kid, okay? So, last time we got like this. This set was Pokemon Go. Like they had Pokemon Go trading cards, and it was like a Pokeball, but it was like the Premier Ball, and inside it had like a Dragonite promo card, and it had like 4 booster packs, and we got some heat from that. It was like I had pulled like a full art Dragonite, and then she had pulled a Radiant Charizard, which is basically like shiny Charizard. So it was pretty cool. And then this time I had found like an advent calendar, and each one had like either like a collectible, like some dye, or like coins, sometimes cards, sometimes trading card packs. So I was like, oh hey, like I feel like we should get this because like it's the holidays right now, and like maybe we can get some really cool stuff from this, because I've seen people pull like special for arts or like alternate arts of like some cards that go for like hundreds of dollars. I'm like, it might be worth it, but also like I have a really bad gambling addiction. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but those are just
what the fuck?
Cartons of cards
Holy
that
shit.
I just hide behind me. Yeah, this is why I center myself here, just so it gets hidden.
Oh my god.
And additionally, on the shelf here, there are more cards and more cards and more cards.
I think those are actually cut off. Though I think those might be cut off by
Oh,
my
that's right.
dumb face.
Yeah, I'm just pointing at Matthew. Yeah, these are the cards that I've bought, and I'm just pointing at you. But yeah,
I for some reason that story reminds me of because I mean, to give you an idea how much of a little shit child I was before I learned what money was, because when you're a kid, you have no concept of money. You see the tag and it says $40. You're like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And it's like when you're a kid, you look at a credit card and you're like, ooh, free money device. Like I thought legit that's what a credit card was till I was like 16. I'm exaggerating, of course, but so when I was younger, me and my brother had a PS3 and we shared that, and that was like my game console for a while. And then I got an Xbox 360 because I wanted to be a unique little snowflake. And a lot of people also had Xboxes, and I was like, I want to play Call of Duty with the boys, So
yeah.
I got an Xbox, and I was an Xbox guy for a long time. And I found myself still playing the PS3 pretty often because I like PS3 exclusives like Uncharted and stuff. And then my brother, then I got a PS3, and then I remember that I started because the PS4 was on its way, and I was begging my mom to get me a PS3 because I was like, I honestly couldn't even tell you what game I wanted to play on it, but my mom was like, well, the PS4 is coming out, and your brother's already, like, he said he's going to wait for it, and I was like, I don't care, I don't need the PS4, I want the PS3, and I want it now, damn it. And then it was like, no, we're not getting a fucking PS3. And then we were in Walmart, and I was like, yo, Mom, can I just go look at it? I just want to look at it and see what it looks like, I guess. Even though I know exactly what fucking PS3 looks like. And, yeah, so long story short, I ended up getting a PS3 because I was a spoiled little shit. And then, so I got a PS3. And then the PS4 came out, and I was like, yo, but that PS4 looking kind of fire, though. So, like, so then I had a PS4 and a PS3. And then my brother was like, well, let's trade in the PS3s. And I was like, for sure, why not? And then we traded in the PS3s and all the games and stuff. I think we did it to buy something. No, I got Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, I remember. And because my brother was like, all right, this is the credit you get. And it was like $40. And I was like, but I had a whole PS3. And he was like, yeah, but that's just what the credit was worth, man. And I was like, what? And even to this day, I don't know if he was full of shit or not. Even more years later, when I got a job and I could afford stuff, and I remember my first day I worked and I was tired and sunburnt and tired, and I made enough money to buy one video game and was like, oh, life sucks. Awesome. And then so I that changed my perspective on money real quick. Because again, it used to be just like, hey, Mom, can I get this? And it's like, no, you can't get this. And it's like, why not? It's like $10, so it's nothing. Or it was like, I'd see a game and it's like $100. I don't know what $100 is, but can I have it, please? And it's like, I guess so. Then I bought a PS3 again. So I've owned I haven't owned, but there's been 3 PS3s in my fucking lifetime, and I still have this PS3. This PS3 ain't going fucking nowhere. I'm gonna put that shit in a glass case, and when my kid walks along and he's like, Dad, can I play a PS3? I'm gonna say, no, Timmy, you can go play your fucking Xbox 720 and leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna be a great parent. I bought a PS3 again because I wanted to play Infamous, and I play Infamous like once a year. Great game. Not my favorite game or anything, but great game. It still holds up. It looks like a bunch of like Roblox characters running around, but it's still a great game. So I was such a spoiled child because again, I had no concept of money or anything. And it was like I remember the first time I got in big trouble was my mom had her credit card on my Xbox, which I didn't know. And I remember I wanted to buy the Black Ops 2 DLC, and I was sad because all my friends were playing it, and I couldn't play it. And I was like, oh, man, I want to play it. And then I was sitting there and I like added it to my cart and I was like, oh, it's right there. If only I just had money. And then I clicked X and I didn't realize that the credit card was in there. And then I unlocked it and I had it and I was like, what? What? Oh my God, it's a gift from God or something. I don't fucking know. Like it's a miracle. I got it for free. And then my mom got home and was like, why the fuck is there a charge on my credit card from Xbox? And I was like, I don't know. I got this thing for free. And it's like, no, you didn't get it for free. And yeah, so then I didn't have my mom's credit card on the Xbox anymore. Now I have my credit card in the Xbox. So
Joke's on you.
now I'm the one in debt.
Oh my gosh. I've been watching these YouTube videos. I forgot her name, but like she's a kind of a smaller YouTube channel, only like 7,000 subscribers. I'm used to watching like people with like tens of thousands. But anyways, she would have different videos listing like games she had picked up, and each list would be like 10 games long. So I'd be like, geez, what kind of job are you working so you can buy 10 games at a time? But anyways, she not only gets like Switch games, since I have a Switch, so I'd be watching videos about getting Switch games, but she also gets like Nintendo 3DS games and DS games as well. And I've been wanting to do like video game content with like 3DS or DS games, but trying to capture it and put it onto the computer, it's not too easy because I think there's only one capture device that does it, and that's like the Katsu Kitty thing, and that's like hundreds of dollars. And
man, I remember when that was all the rage.
Yeah, and obviously you can't like do that at the moment. Well, I guess you could still do it. Or no, you probably have to buy it through eBay or something. Some overpriced.
Yeah, isn't the company like they don't make them anymore or something like that?
I don't think they make them anymore, but you could probably find someone who has it on eBay.
Just hit up like one of the PokeTubers that don't make videos anymore and just be like, "Hey, can I have your 3DS, please?"
Hey, you still have this? Yo,
I'm sure
let me
one
hit
of
up. I'll hit up he who must not be named. I think he still makes content though.
I think there's a few of them though. That's the problem. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about because I think there's a few PokeTubers that have been.
That's right. No, I just thought of the second one. Oh, you're right.
I don't know why I did that. I'm not. Wait, hold on. I'm not. I didn't do anything, guys. I don't do Pokemon videos anymore, so I'm totally safe.
Yo, man, can I use your 3DS capture card?
Yeah.
But no,
yeah.
if I had like a 3DS capture card, I'd be playing like, I don't have Fossil Fighters. I do have Fossil Fighters technically, just not as a. Anyways, but yeah, I wanted to capture like 3DS or DS games. I think it'd be pretty cool. But I have a Switch now, and I can play Switch games. But just like her revealing like her whole collection, like with physical copies. I'd be imagine if I had like a shelf full of video games.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
I always loved that, like JonTron, like Peanut Butter Gamer, and there's others. But like those YouTubers that had they filmed in their basements and they just had a wall of like game collections and like little trinkets and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that looks so cool. And when I started collecting action figures, which is going on 6 years now. Oh my God, I'm old. I've only been collecting action figures for 5 years at this point, like 5 and a bit, and I really don't have that many. Like
that's like about a third of your life, not that much.
Is it?
It's just about.
Oh God. But I'm like, I really don't have that many. To be fair, a lot of them are in the closet because when I first started collecting action figures, I was like, I was like Kylo Ren. I was like, just more. I want more. And that's all I cared about. I just wanted to get more. I didn't even care if it was a figure that I was like, oh, this character's like kind of cool. I know a little bit about him. It was like, I don't care. I want it because it makes the collection bigger. And as I've gotten older, I'm less about more and more about, I was going to say why, but less
like
quality, less quantity, more quality.
Yeah.
Because now I spend action figures and I'm like, the price I spent on one figure nowadays, I could have gotten like 5 Marvel Legends back in the day.
Oh,
And
jeez.
14-year-old me would be like, "What's wrong with you, you moron? You can get so many." And for like honestly, I think like if I were to pull, because I have like a big pile of Marvel Legends now sitting in my closet of that are all just like piled up like a mass grave, and I just don't have them displayed because I realized that I was like I just don't like they're fine, and I'm like I'll either like for now I don't I'm just they're gonna sit in a bin, and I'm sure I'll donate them or sell them or give them to my kid or something. Maybe not my kid. That's hopefully a while away. I don't plan on having kids
Superman
for a long
versus
time.
Batman.
And
They're gonna destroy the head, take it apart and stuff.
But well, okay. Well, that's the thing is like that's what I'm definitely gonna keep a few of them because my kid can play with those. My kid ain't touching the nice ones.
Your kid can play with
fucking.
Your kid can play with Lego Steve.
I come in, I see my kid playing with Kid Shingen. That kid's gone. That kid's going to space, and I not through the fucking space program. I will fucking launch that child like a football. No, but yeah, like I completely replaced my. I don't know if you can see this. I completely replaced my Marvel Legends section, which was that middle shelf there. I completely replaced that. It's just 2 Lego sets now.
Oh yeah, Lego. Oh yeah,
I just got 2 Lego sets there now, which there's a huge gap.
What's the one on the left?
That's the Seinfeld set. I just built that this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Built the Lego Seinfeld set. It's a pretty cool set. I built it backwards. Funny story about that. My arm is itchy.
You just start reading it like a manga or something. The instruction book.
Oh, sorry. Okay, not backward, like reversed. I built it. That's the same fucking thing. I built it improperly because I am like dyslexic for pictures. I guess. I think what I did was I built the base plate wrong. So I didn't build this all in one go. I started it like ages ago, and then I just didn't get around to finishing it until this weekend. I think when I first did it, I built the base plate like flipped because I can't read fucking instructions. So what ended up happening then was because the base plate was flipped, and everything that should be on the left is on the right and vice versa. And so what I did is I would build like, so there's like, you build like the kitchen counter, and I'd build it, and then it wouldn't, and I built it from the instructions, and then it wouldn't fit. And I was like, what the fuck? I definitely read the instructions wrong. So I felt like a crazy man because then I had to take it apart, and I'm like, I can't read instructions. So then I build it reverse, and I do it, and I'm like, man, why don't they just make these instructions better? Why do I keep building this wrong? Until I got to the end, and I was like, wow, this looks great. And then I was looking at pictures on the internet of Seinfeld's apartment, and I was like, this is wrong. And then my mom, the thing is, like, I know of Seinfeld because my mom like is constantly watching it, like it's always on in the background. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't know that much about it. I know there's a guy named Seinfeld, but that's about it. And yeah, and then she pointed out that it's like the kitchen should be on the other side, and I was like, yeah, I know. I'm dumb. So yeah, I built the thing, and there were so many times I was looking at the instructions, and I was like, what? And I also found, sorry, I'm so jealous because I was so mad at myself that I'm dumb. So they said it's supposed to take a leisurely 3 hours to build that set, like going at like a nice medium leisure play, like, you know, just like a nice relaxing afternoon. And I'm like, man, I feel like I was doing fucking brain surgery. Like, I'm so dumb. I'd watched the first episode of Wednesday like a little while ago. So I watched the last 7 episodes. Yeah, I watched the last 7 episodes. Each episode's like an hour long. So I spent 8 hours building this fucking thing. And it was just the walls. Like, it took me 8 hours building the fucking walls. And I'm like, this was supposed to take 3 hours for the whole thing. The entire thing, 3 hours. And I'm like, why am I so fucking stupid? It took me this long to build it. And I also realized that, because like when I first started building Lego, I was like, oh, this is a nice like relaxing thing. Like, this would be really fun. Like, I'm like, oh man, I imagine when it's like I get a girlfriend, it's like, oh, we can have a nice cute date building Legos. I'm like, no. That would be such a bad idea now. It'd be like,
take it from me. It's a bad idea.
like,
It seems fun at first, but she takes the reins. She's
No,
like,
but-
I got it, babe.
well, that's the problem. Is it'd be like, hey, babe, you want to build Legos? For sure. And then like 10 minutes later, it's like, the table's been snapped in half, and like, there's no longer a Lego set. But yeah,
She'll start assigning you like the smaller tasks, like, oh, can you like sort out all the orange pieces for me?
I did not. So I just have my desk space to build everything. Oh, hi, Zuko.
Mm-hmm.
I just have my desk space to build everything, and I don't have a lot of space because I have a shelf on my desk because I needed a place to put my microphone and my PlayStation and stuff because I'm not very organized. Yeah, so I had to put my keyboard like up out of the way, and even then, I'm like, and the booklet's like this fucking big, and the set itself is like, I don't know, that big. I could go get it, but I don't want to get up. Yeah, so it's like, so the way I build Lego sets is apparently like a fucking gorilla. I looked it up, and like the way other people do it, and they're like, so you want to sort your pieces like this? And I'm like, what the fuck? No, that's such a bad idea. I even saw one guy was like, so the thing at the back of the book, the fucking like, there's like a thing at the back to show you all the pieces and the part numbers and stuff. What are you doing, Zuko? Yeah. And he was like, so you want to go back and match everything to make sure you have all your pieces? And I was like, are you fucking crazy, man? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to build it. And if I'm missing pieces, oh well. So so some people grab all the bags and open them all at once and then sort them.
No.
And I'm like, nah. What I do, and apparently it's crazy. I didn't see anyone else doing it this way from the things I looked up. So I have my instruction booklet. I'm flipping through. It's like, all right, you're going to want to open bag 1. I open bag 1, and there's usually tiny pieces that are separated into the bag, and I open that, and I pour it all into one giant pile. And then I start building, and then I just like cycle through the big pile until
that's what my girlfriend does.
until there's nothing left. And I'm like, and I have a little.
And then you can move on to section 2.
Yeah, and I have like a little dish that I put the extra like tiny bits in that I don't need. I also hadn't built Legos in a long time, or Lego in a long time. Apparently, Lego is the correct the plural. I don't know, but anyway. And they have the little like pry tool now, which is super useful.
Nice.
Because when I built Lego sets last, that didn't exist. So if you messed up, yeah, it's like trying to pry it apart. It's like that video of that guy that he's like tearing apart 2 1x2 pieces with olive oil and no fingernails. And it was like this man is a god, and he did it. Like it was immaculate.
Jeez.
But anyway, so yeah, the pry tool is super useful. And I don't know when they implement it, but I'm glad they did. The next set I want to build is the Daily Bugle Spider-Man set because I love Spider-Man, and that set's like a giant like all the coolest parts of Spider-Man. It's expensive, like very expensive. It's like $500, and it's also fucking huge, which is my biggest hiccup because I'm like, where the fuck am I gonna put that? Like, I have literally nowhere to put. I could put it on the very top of the shelf, but I don't really want to do that. Ideally, it would go right there, but as you can see, someone else is taking that spot right now, and I don't know where to put that figure.
Also, I like where that sword is. How it's like, is it on a stand?
Yes.
In front of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks so cool like that.
Yeah, I like that. Very, very nice. That sword, and all the reviews I watched for that figure before I bought it didn't have that. So I guess they just gave me a bonus sword. It has a gold hilt. He has 2 swords on his hips that are the same sword, but they have scabbards, and I had seen that in reviews. But I just got a bonus sword, which is cool. Has a gold hilt. Looks cool. It doesn't come with a scabbard, so that's why it sits in the thing like that. So that's pretty cool. He doesn't have weapon storage for the other thing, so that's why I just have him holding all of his weapons. Like he has an axe and a spear and the 1 sword in his back and the 2 swords on his hips. So he has everything attached to him, which is cool. Anyway, I'm just
it looks cool.
I really like it.
Collections are so cool.
I do like my collection to some extent. don't. It's not exactly where I want it to be. I wish it was a little bit more like spread out. As I've gotten older, I like the more like the like not minimalist per se, but like when I was younger, I really liked the like chaotic, just like jam as much shit in there as possible because it looks full. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I kind of like when it's a little bit more spread out. You can appreciate each piece on its own kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like more like a museum where you have like different pieces of the art.
Yeah, because if this was like 14-year-old me with this current collection, and there wasn't shit in my nose, oh my god. For starters, I probably would not have even owned that figure. But that figure would have been surrounded by all my other stuff. He'd have like a little tiny army in front of him, and it would look goofy as hell.
Yeah.
And I would just have figures like jam-packed everywhere. And as a child, I'd be like, wow, this looks great. Look how full it is. And now as I'm older, it's like, because it used to be about bragging rights, right? Like before, it used to be like, wow, look how cool my collection is. Look how full it is. Look how many things I have. And now I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I just want my thing to look nice.
Yeah, I think trying to stuff everything in like one spot kind of works more with like, I think stuffed animals, right?
Yeah.
This looks pretty okay where it's like all packed in one spot. But then when it comes to like figures, you kind of want it to like stand on its own, you know?
Well, yeah, because like especially when you're spending like a pretty penny on figures. Like when I look at it, like the top two, I think the very top shelf was cut off. When I look at the top two shelves of my shelf, it's like $2,000 worth of shit sitting on just the top part of my shelf, if not more. Because it's like because I live in Canada, shipping costs a little bit more, and where I order from, all the prices have to get flipped to Canadian, so everything's in American. So when the final price tag comes through and I gotta pay customs, it's like fucking $160 a figure. Shit's expensive. And it's like, yeah, I realize it's just a bunch of plastic in a certain order to make it look like a anime character, but I'm like, I don't give a shit. I like it. So I'm like, I do wish it could stand on its own. Like, I could separate things out a bit more. Because like the top shelf, I have like a lot of figures that I've had to like bury in the back that I don't really care for. I don't care for the fact that I have to bury them in the back because I just have too many. So I've also learned that having a shelf that's a shelf like this, because it's very deep, it's not great for displaying figures in the way I want to. Ideally, I would have floating shelves that are a little bit like, they're not as deep, but they're longer. Because the way this is, I have to end up burying a lot of stuff in the back, which kind of sucks. But I mean... This is the definition of first world problems. Like, oh no, my action figure collection is not as nice as I wish it was. But I don't know. I want to set it up a little bit differently. Like, I like this shelf, the 2 Lego sets. I know there's a lot of dead space there. But it's like, it's a little bit more simplistic. I actually do have. I don't know if you can see it from here. No, you can't. Batman is on that shelf. Batman's next to the Lego Minecraft thing. He's right there.
Oh yeah, I can see him. Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty cool. This weekend I had to reorganize it a little bit to fit the Lego shelf, the Lego set in, and I put a lot of figures away. And as I was doing it, I was just kind of like reminiscing a little bit, because it was like, oh yeah, this was cool. Like when I remember I first got this, and it was like, wow, look at this. But it was also like I bought a lot of those figures, because I could, because I just wanted more. And again, I'm a little bit more selective. I ain't gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm so fucking like I pick and choose which figures I want. I have like 30 figures on my fucking pre-order list on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm not gonna sit here on my high horse and act like I'm so selective now. I still spend a lot of fucking money on action figures. Like, I still get a lot of them. It's just, I don't feel I'm just buying shit for the sake of buying it. Because, like, that being said, I still think even now I still have a tiny bit of like a spending addiction. Is that, I don't know if that's the correct term. It's like there's people that like, I like there's people that like just like spending money, and I'm weird because I'm like I don't like spending money, but I do. Like it's so
Maybe
I like
splurging or
I like getting things. I like new things. I like getting new things and opening new things. Can you hear that?
yeah.
What the fuck is that? Hold on, one second. Hey, welcome to the Shūmatsu podcast, everybody. I thought I was being broken into, but house is secured. My mom was just giving the dog a bath.
Oh, nice.
And the other dogs were being upsetty, so they were growling at everybody. Anyway, so
You seen the new Blue Lock episode?
I sure did.
It's funny because every week I ask, after the episode, I ask you like, "Oh, have you seen the new episode?" Of course, I give it a few days.
It's like we're like dads.
That's the
talking about
conversation
football.
starter.
So did you see the game last week, Ted? Oh, I sure did.
I sure did. It's a close one.
Some good shit.
It's getting really tight in there.
Yeah, no, we didn't talk about it last week. Did we?
No, we didn't. But the last two episodes where they're finishing up the round robin are pretty insane.
Yeah,
they're going against Team V.
The show has gotten really, really good. I mean, it's been pretty solid all the way through so far. But like I was saying to you, I think I've kind of ruined other sports anime for myself because I don't. Blue Lock is the first. I say it's the first sport anime. Technically, Skate the Infinity is. But Blue Lock is the first, like, I don't know, traditional, like, ball sport or whatever.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
And I'm like, there's a bunch I've heard, like the, what's it called? The basketball show. I've heard a lot about.
Kuroko.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something like
basket.
that.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about that. I thought Fruits Basket was a sports anime. It turns out it's not. I just heard basket and assumed it was like basketball or something.
Basketball.
Yeah. That's not a sports anime from what I understand.
You watched the first episode and I was like, when did they get into the basketball
No,
part?
I haven't watched any of it. I've heard the name, and then I was like, oh, that's a sports anime, and then I looked it up, and it's not. But anyway, and like I've heard a lot about Haikyuu and stuff, but there's like those shows I'm like I don't know if I can get into those now because I'm like I know for a fact they're not like Blue Lock. I'm like 900% sure they're not like Blue Lock. Because
here's what I think. I think the reason why we like Blue Lock so much is because it has like that thrilling aspect right off. We got
Zoomer brain, man. We got TikTok brain.
They really geared towards like lower attention spans, but not so much like lower attention spans where it's like 5 minutes, okay, that's enough of Blue Lock, let's turn it off, but it just really grabs your attention and it keeps you there. And there's hardly moments where it like slows down unless they're like in between games, but then like the next game would kick off in like a matter of minutes or maybe like right at the next episode. So it really like I think the pacing of it is really well. These are the words of my girlfriend, by the way, because I got her to watch it too, and we're caught up, and she really likes it. She thinks the pacing's really good. Like it's not slow like Haikyuu is, where there's like character interactions with each other. It's like it really gets into the action really fast. Like
a lot of shows are fairly character driven. But there's recently been, I shouldn't say a trend, but like Blue Lock, Jujutsu Kaisen's kind of in the same boat. I really like Jujutsu Kaisen, and I consider that like shonen on crack because it's like that's like a speed run of shonen. Because I think I haven't watched Naruto. I've just heard this comparison a lot that Jujutsu Kaisen's like Naruto without all the filler and blah blah blah. It's just like the cool fights and that's it.
Yeah.
And Blue Lock is sort of doing a similar thing where a lot of the characters is like developed during the cool fights, so to speak. Blue Lock's not really fights necessarily, but like I don't know. There's something about it that is like I find there's moments from that. I think it's a little bit of recency bias because I'm like I'm sure I would have said this with like Soul Eater and stuff like that, and now I watched that show a year ago. So there's things in Soul Eater that I'm like, I don't really remember. But like there's stuff in Blue Lock that I'm like I will be trying to go to sleep and a scene will pop into my head and I'm like, yeah, that was sick. Anyway, I gotta go to sleep now. So like, brain, if you could fucking shut off. Like I don't want to spoil it, but you'll know what I'm talking about. The scene where that one guy does that one really cool thing, you know.
that happened so many times in the last
okay,
episode. Like just back to back to back.
Okay, my favorite moment
insane.
so far has been the one where the guy runs really fast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I was like, I'll think about that every once in a while, and I'm like, holy shit, that is so cool. I think it's also, and for some reason since then, like I've always had a fascination with with running. It sounds so fucking goofy, but I've always had a fascination with running. Because I'm like, I don't do it very often, but every time I do run, like full on sprint as fast as I can, it feels so cool. It never lasts more than like 3 seconds because then I'm completely
it's
winded and my lungs are burning and I'm like gasping for life. But
yeah.
But I'm like, there's something about it that I'm like, oh my, and I like just watching videos of just like sprinters is like so satisfying for some reason. Like there's been a trend on like gym TikTok, which I watch quite a bit. Some of them are really cool and some of them are like very like toxic masculinity kind of thing where it's like if you're a dude and you're not in the gym then use a bitch, and I'm like, well, not necessarily. Like but like because like some of them are like, hey, watch me, I'm gonna do a 700-pound deadlift, and I'm like, holy shit, you have my attention. And there's some where it's like, you know, it's some guy sitting in shadows with like, you know, his like hood on and he's listening to like, I don't know, some fucking like Sigma male grind set song. it's like only Sigmas. But yeah, and there's some of them, and then so there's ones that just show like, hey, here's my like cool like lifting record. There's the ones that are like trying to be motivational, but they come off as kind of douchey. And there's like the comedy side of it. There's one TikTok that came out of nowhere, but I found so funny. I'm gonna butcher it, but it was this guy. He's like showing a bunch of clips of him like working out. He has his shirt off. He's absolutely fucking ripped. And I'm sitting there eating a bag of Cheetos like, oh man, I should probably work out. But he's like, some people train it's like some men train hard to look good, something train to do this, and he's like, and I train to make men hard, and it came out of nowhere, and I was like, holy shit, dude.
Choose your character.
Like it was something. It was like it sounded like one of those douchey motivational things, and took such a left turn, and it was so fucking funny. But
all right,
it was. I just pushed it, but it's really funny. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But I've had to make like 6 fucking TikToks, because I made one ages ago for my old channel, and then I made a new one for Filament, and then I used that for a while, and I was like, no, this is my new TikTok, and then I used that for a bit, and then like a few months ago, I was like, oh man, I'm spending way too much time on TikTok and Twitter and stuff, so I'm gonna delete TikTok and Twitter off my phone, and then I was like, okay, I'll re-download TikTok. I still haven't re-downloaded Twitter, but I'm sure I'll give myself like another week.
But you hop on Twitter on the computer every now and then, right?
On my computer, and I will say that's been a lot better. I'm on Twitter now maybe like 10 minutes a day. Like I'm not on Twitter all that often anymore. But I re-downloaded TikTok on my phone, because I was watching a lot of YouTube shorts, and then I was like, these are just TikToks, but like way out of date. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to download TikTok again, so I at least get some good content when I'm browsing endlessly.
Up to date.
So I re-downloaded TikTok, but then I was trying to log into my account, and I was like, no, my username's definitely this, my password's definitely this, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not letting me in. And then it was like, all right, type in your email, and I was like, fuck, I got like 3 emails. And then I tried all 3 of them. None of them came up. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, I'll try my phone number. But I hooked up my phone number to my first account. So it logged me into that one. And I was like, I don't want this one. I want the other one. So then I was like, well, shit. I don't know how to get into this account. And then I tried logging in a few more times, and then it was like, oh, your account's gonna be locked if you try again. And I was like, fuck it. So then I just made a new one. So there's like 3 filament accounts floating around on the internet, and I think they're all me. I went to
Nice.
because I made a new one, and I was like, okay, I guess I gotta go follow people again. So I followed you, and immediately it was like, hey, do you want to follow Filament? And I was like, no, that's me. Fuck, and I can't go delete that TikTok or anything. So I'm like, all right, I guess it's just gonna be another version of my account floating around. So anyway, so I've been. And TikTok knows me pretty well. I got back to pretty much the same stuff almost immediately. It starts out with the like lame stuff, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't care for this. Give me the funny shit, and then it gets back to the good stuff pretty quickly. But because the algorithm for TikTok is pretty solid, like it gets
kind of scary, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it gets it like sorted pretty fast.
I tried doing this thing where you know how people say like, oh, Facebook and Google are always like listening in on your conversations, and then when you go to search it up, it like already knows what you want to look for. I tried doing that with TikTok, because there was this very niche thing going around. I'm not sure if it's still going because I left that sort of community, but it was like doubloons, or I guess the term would be dabloons. But basically, this cat gives you like 4 dabloons, and it basically turned into like this other world where you collect these coins, these doubloons. You can buy like different items, armors, weapons, and stuff like that. And there's also like a whole doubloon stock market as well, which is like a different side of doubloon TikTok. So you got like one side, which the side I was on, where you would be using the doubloons and you'd be basically playing like a RPG, or like you're like on an adventure. And then there's like the other side where you're watching like the stock market go up or down, and then there's like different rules of that. But apparently that side of TikTok is like very, very niche, and only like a few thousand are actually in it. But you know, recently I like got out of it because I was watching more like Pokemon stuff, you know, Pokemon Scarlet stuff. I was watching like tips and tricks and like ways to unlock different things for like Pokemon. So I started watching more of those, and then you know the feed slowly starts getting rid of like the doubloon stuff. But basically, I was like, I wasn't getting this doubloon stuff at first because my girlfriend had showed it to me. She was like, oh yeah, have you like seen this doubloon stuff? It's like really niche. And I was like, no, but it seems really cool. And I was just like, you know, I just said doubloon into my phone, and I didn't actually get it until like maybe a day later. Like one doubloon TikTok showed up on my feed, but I think it's just because my girlfriend had sent me like a TikTok in my DMs. Yeah, so if you don't watch it in like the DMs, it'll kind of push it onto your For You page. I think that's how it works, because sometimes I'll watch stuff and then I'll be like, oh, Kay would like this. I send it to her, and then she'll be like, oh, I already sent that to you. So I think instead of me saying doubloon and then the doubloon TikTok start showing up, I think it was a matter of my girlfriend had sent me a doubloon TikTok, and then that's how it gets pushed onto my feed. But yeah, I tried that, and I thought it'd be funny to see if it worked.
Well,
I guess it didn't.
I'm like it. Well, for me, it like because I mean, this episode I talked about Wednesday. I haven't gotten like I used to get a lot of those TikToks, and then I watched the show, and then I immediately stopped, and I'm like, okay, I assume TikTok is watching my every move, and I'm like, all right, that's good.
You got cameras on you.
Funnily enough, I have yet to get any action figure related TikToks, and I'm like, bruh.
Seems pretty niche. Yeah.
Like, come on. Maybe someone needs to pioneer the market, and that someone will not be me, because I'm far too lazy. But I'm sure now that I've talked, I'm sure I can open up TikTok right now, and I will get a Wednesday TikTok or something of the sort. No, I get a TikTok from Daniel Hitch. This guy is great. Daniel Henschel. This guy is fucking great. He does
what do they do?
He does like life advice, but like in a joking way. So it's Oh, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, see, there
I get
you go.
I get Alchemist. I get a bunch of life quotes. This guy again. Struggling with anxiety, and then Thomas, and then
Oh,
ads.
Thomas, is that the YouTuber?
Thomas, this guy.
Oh, I don't. Never mind.
He also does like he's like they say if you want to win at life you have to wake up early. I just stay asleep and I never wake up, so that I never have to win or something along those lines. Or he's like, they say doing nothing is easy, therefore I do nothing because it's easy. And it's like it's dumb shit like that. But
Very silly.
yeah, so my TikTok is like a bunch of motivational quotes, anxiety, depression, and then working out. So they know me to a fucking science. No, but it is kind of weird because I'm like, when I get like really bad, like I get real sad, that's when I suddenly get a lot of like those TikToks where it's like, please, you're doing great, keep going, like everyone loves you and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, TikTok, okay, I'm good. All right? I'm just feeling a little sad today. All right.
I used to get those like manifesting TikToks because my girlfriend would send them to me, and it would be like claim this post to like get good luck, or like you're gonna hear good news on this date if you claim this. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll like do it. And then it seemed to work for a little bit because I was getting like, one of them was like, claim this and you're gonna get some money or like, and stuff. And it's the next day I get my paycheck. I'm like, I got some money.
I was gonna
All
say,
right,
yeah.
that's cool. But it was gonna happen anyways. But thanks. I guess it kind of lines up.
Yeah, I think I only did something along those lines like once. And then I got some like really bad news, and I was like, "Wow, these things suck." But like, there's stuff that it's like it's weird, like TikTok. Like there's a lot of like there's a lot of people posting like quotes and stuff, and there's a lot of quotes that I like. There's a quote from this movie called Coach Carter that Are you good, man? From this movie Coach Carter that I want to watch. It's a quote that it's like, our biggest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we're greater than we could ever imagine, or something along those lines. And it's something that I can relate to pretty well, at least right now, because I'm like, the thing I've been like struggling the most with the last like couple months is that I'm like, this turned to a therapy session real fast, but I feel like I have this this well of like creativity and all this like really cool stuff that I can do, and I know I'm capable of doing, and all this stuff that it's just slightly out of reach, and it's been like really frustrating because I'm like, man, I feel like I can do some really cool stuff like with videos and just like things in general, and I'm like, I know I'm capable of a lot of this stuff. And yet it's like the fear of like, because like I definitely have a fear of failure, but I've also learned that I have a fear of like, for some reason it scares me of like, well, what if it does work out and like, your dreams come true and all this stuff? Because then I'm like, well, fuck, then what? Then like, what do I strive for or whatever? So I'm in this sort of thing right now where it's like, I recognize that it's like doing something is better than doing nothing. And if I don't try stuff now, I'm going to regret it later and things like that. And I'd much rather try and fail and learn from it than do nothing and regret it later, like always wondering what would have happened if I had tried it. And yet for some reason I'm still just like, I just do nothing. And it's like, it's really annoying because I'm like, I don't know why I do this. I totally recognize all these things that I'm like, no, I know if I just got up and did this, like things would start improving and things like that, and I just don't do it, and I'm like, well, I don't know why, so instead I'm just gonna sit here and complain about it.
Yeah.
So
I remember like two quotes that kind of are like the same, in the same boat. One was actually one that I used in like my, like when I was in middle school. We were doing like not elections, but we were voting on who our club president, vice president would be. And one of the quotes I said was like, if you choose me, wait, no.
I think I said is a vote for me.
No. So I said something along the lines of like aim for the
shoot for the
aim
moon,
for the moon, or shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll land among the stars.
Oh.
And I had saw that in like the back of the room, and I was like, that's a really good one. I'm gonna use that.
That is not the one I heard. My brother used to say this to me at work. He was like, I first heard him say this at work. It was shoot for the moon because if you miss, you'll burn up, or I'll enjoy seeing you burn up on reentry or something like that. It was it was something along those lines where it's like, I shoot for the moon or you'll burn up on reentry or something on those lines.
I think he twisted that quote actually. I've never heard that.
Well, yeah,
really
funny.
The other one was like, you miss all the shots you don't take.
Yeah, that's
which is
classic.
the classic one.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like,
yeah,
all these quotes are like, they're very true. And it's like, I hear all this stuff and it's like, no, I definitely agree with all of it. Like, like it's better to go out and try something because like worst case scenario, you fuck it up and you learn from it,
Yeah.
And like all these things. And I'm like, yes, no, I hear you. And it's same thing with like, it's like social anxiety. It's like, okay, you're nervous talking on the phone. Well, what's the worst thing that's going to happen is the person like yells at you or whatever. And it's like, well, that's not going to happen most likely. And even if they do, it's like, it's a phone call. You can just and put it down. You're done. And I'm like, but I'm like, no, I hear that. I get you, but I'm still going to worry about it anyway. And I don't know why. And it's like, it's super annoying because I'm like, it's like something that like really bothers me because I'm like, it's one of those things that I'm like, I don't like where I'm at right now. I wish I was somewhere else. And it's like, I sit there and give myself a lot of like self-pity, like excuses and stuff like that. Cause I'm like, oh man, I wish I was further along because had I done this thing differently 6 years ago, I'd be so much better now. But I'm also like, maybe like possibly like maybe I would be further along. But the problem is I didn't do that thing 6 years ago or whatever. So it's like the thing that I'm still like trying to like get over is that it's like there's things that I could have done in my past that I didn't, and I sit there now being like, oh, I wish I would have changed that, or I wish I could change that, but it's like a thing that it's like I can't, so I gotta move on eventually. Yeah. And it's just a thing that I'm worried that I'm like I'll get to the point where I can move on when it's like too late, more or less. So it's like, yeah, because I am like the king of saying I'm going to do stuff and just never actually doing it. I've been talking to you about doing all kinds of things for years.
I'm right up there with you, dude. At least you're putting out Overwatch videos, dude. I've been talking about, I want to start up a tennis channel, or I want to do like some Pokemon Unite, like how to play this character. Not on my channel. Have not even touched my Pokemon Unite game to even start it. Have not even pressed start recording. Don't even ask. It's not going to happen. Or I want it to happen, but it's probably not going to happen. Don't count on it.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And it's also just a thing of like human nature. It's also like high school teaches you that like you should be doing like as much as you possibly can constantly, and like when it's like there's days where you're just like tired and you're like, man, I can barely get out of bed right now. And it's like, and then you feel shitty about it because you're like, no, it's a new day. I should be using the most, like I should be doing the most I can today, and I don't. And then I'm like, oh, I'm such a piece of shit. But it's like, it's things that it's like when you get into that sort of mindset, you end up spiraling, and then you get like deeper and deeper in when it's like, if you would just take that day, like, you know what? No, today's not my day. I'm going to chill today. I'll try again tomorrow. Then you try again tomorrow, and maybe the same thing happens, but maybe it doesn't. And instead, I'm like, no, I'm a piece of poo-poo today, so I'm going to be a piece of poo-poo forever, and then it just goes, I'm like, and then I get sad, and then I'm like, oh, man, I wish I wasn't depressed, and then I build a Lego set, and then I feel better. so I'm like...
I think we're pretty much similar in that aspect. I think if once we get the ball rolling, I think when we start, we really keep the ball rolling, and I think it really is like Newton's law, where it's like an object in motion will stay in motion, unless it's been stopped, and that's pretty much us right now. It's like we've been stopped and nothing's really pushing us, and we're not going to keep rolling because nothing's pushing us right now.
That's the other thing, is that I'm not a very self-motivating person.
Yeah.
Like I like to think I'm very independent, or rather I would like to be independent, but I'm not a very self-motivating person. So it's like there's things that I'm like, if I don't have someone hanging over me telling me to do it, I'm kind of like, well, why do it then,
Yeah.
Unless this is a thing that I'm like super passionate about. So I'm like, and that's the thing I've learned is that I'm like, I'm really passionate about YouTube, or just not necessarily YouTube, but like making content and stuff. But I'm also like, I don't feel I do enough with it, because I'm like, I get in my head about stuff where I'm like, oh, I'm not changing the world with this new Overwatch video. So like, why even bother? It's like, well, no, not everything needs to fucking like change the fabric of reality. Like,
Yeah.
I'm obviously not going to sit down and play Overwatch and make the next Godfather. Like, I'm going to make an Overwatch video that hopefully makes people laugh. And it's like, that was my original goal when I was a 7-year-old making a YouTube channel. I was like, I just want to make people laugh, damn it. And then somewhere along the lines, I was 14-year-old, and I was like, no, I need to make content that moves people. And I don't know why. Yeah, this got deep in the last like 10 minutes. Holy shit. This
Oh
took
my
such
gosh.
a turn.
Yeah.
Went from talking about like tennis, and we were talking about some Disney Channel,
Books.
and fucking Tic Tac videos, and suddenly I'm like, hey, so like, what even is life? what is the meaning of life?
Yeah, I think I told you like the beginning of the year I got these two game making softwares, and I've been trying to make a game for a while, and my girlfriend always tells me like, oh, it like takes a while to like make a game. It's not like gonna it's not gonna be really quick. On the other end of the spectrum, you can do like these game jams where it's like over a weekend and stuff like that. But in my head, I'm like, I do at least like want to see my progress. And right now, like my progress, it's not, I don't really see it as progress, just more so like the list of ideas that I have are growing. And that's not really like a bad thing. It's just like, because I'm having so many ideas, I don't really know what to do and where to start, because some of the ideas are like different. So I've been struggling with like how the structure of the story is, like the mechanics of the game. Like, do I want to do like wizards in like spells and stuff, or do I want to go towards like a classical RPG aspect where like you have like elements, kind of like an Avatar, where you have like fire, earth, wind, and water, and then they like progress through there, but then there's still like the brawler class, the mage, and then the rogue class, stuff like that. Or like do I want to have like a full magic system with wizards, or do I want them to be like there's a swordsman, there's a rogue, there's a mage. And that's kind of like where I'm at right now, as as far as like this game that I'm thinking of. And it's been tough, because it's like I could do either one and both would work, but I need to stick with one. And I'm thinking about this fortune that I got from a fortune cookie like 10 years ago. That was like I can't remember it now, but it's like one singular path is better than 3, something like that. Basically saying like you gotta like focus on one thing at a time and it'll work out.
And and that's the thing. I've been really wanting to get into game development too, and I'm like, because I have all these ideas for stuff, and I'm just like, oh man, like if only these hands would work with this brain. Holy shit, the things I'd create. But I'm like, I have like a thing of like, there's a little bit of FOMO if I'm like working on something and I like hit a point where I'm a little frustrated with it. And I'm like, oh man, but if I was doing that thing over there, I'd be having way more fun. But I also have like, commitment issues. So I'm like, I can't commit to this one path, because what if the other paths are better? And I'm like, I want to back out later. So I'm like, I'm like, oh man, I'm terrible for it. Like I really want to start making games, because I'm like, I have so many ideas for stuff. And then I'm like, 90% of the game ideas I've had that I've written down, I was looking through my notepad the other day. A lot of the ideas I have are very much like, there's no like story attached to it. This is like more or less a demo that I would make and be like, all right, cool. I'm going to go to the next thing now.
kind of like Pac-Man, where it's like you start up a game and then you
Yeah.
either finish it or you don't, sort of thing.
Kind of.
And
Like
you can
I've had
replay it.
I guess more specifically, I have ideas for stuff that's like basically tech demos, where I'm like, I have a very bare bones idea for this. I have no idea how to expand upon it and make it like better, and
So
maybe
more
it'd be
like
different.
more like Rayman Legends, like when you go through like Walmart or something, like they'll have the demo.
Kind of. I've had a lot of ideas for stuff that I'm like, man, I really wish I could just make this if my brain. I mean, the other thing is like learning a new software. I'm like,
It's not easy. That's
I
for
have a
sure.
thing of like, I'm trying Unreal Engine now because they have the blueprint system, which
Oh yeah.
was super interesting to me because the blueprint system is still coding, but it's not in the same. Like you're not typing everything out. It's like blocks that you match up, and it's like it.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's just a visual representation of coding, and like when I look at a wall of code, like a script or whatever, I'm like, my brain might be able to pick it out. But it's a lot easier if it's like, okay, this yellow block connecting to this orange block now means that this character walks forward. I'm like, all right, my fucking monkey brain can understand
Yeah, I
that.
think they do that in Scratch too.
I've never
with like
heard
the
of
block. I think it's called block code.
Yeah, it's in Unreal Engine. It's called Blueprints, and that's what I'm trying to learn now. And yeah, so it's like I'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Like my advice. I'm a computer science major. I'm not. I'm not like super well versed in like computer languages, but I will say like you know, if you're starting out doing like any sort of coding or like development and you're like not super advanced with like the techniques or like you don't have like a full grasp yet, I think doing any sort of block code like Scratch or like the blueprint from Unreal Engine is like a good place to start, because I think having like the color representation helps you visually, and it's not as intimidating as like trying to look at a full block of code. I think Unity, you have to write out all the code, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like block code. Yeah, so that the block code can really help lead up to like writing full on scripts and stuff. So yeah, I think it's good that you're starting an Unreal Engine.
Yeah, it's also stuff that I'm like, I don't like, or I like learning new things because I'm like, or I always want to learn new skills, but I hate the act of like, because like I mean you gotta fuck up stuff to get better at it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's things that like I like when I was younger and I like learned Premiere Pro and Photoshop and stuff. I learned that from like, normally the way I learn stuff is I learn the basics of it, and then from there I go nuts, and I usually do things in a very inefficient way until someone comes along and they're like, hey, you know, you could do this way faster, and I'm like, oh wow, cool. Like Premiere Pro, I didn't know about like presets or anything until like a couple years into using it, and then that made shit so much faster. And it's like I've learned a lot more from like editing and making thumbnails and stuff from just like random throwaway lines in videos that aren't even like tutorials or whatever. It's just a YouTuber just being like, oh yeah, I use this effect to do this, and it's like, or they say it in a joke, they're like, oh hey editor, use this effect on my face, and they do it. I'm like, that's what it's called, holy shit. And it's like
Yeah.
like things like that, not to say the videos where it's like, hey guys, today I'm going to teach you how to use Premiere Pro, is like those videos definitely have value. But like for me, once I know the basics, I'm like, I would much rather just like mess around and stuff. But it's always that first like right now, the part I'm in now is I'm still like just opening Unreal Engine and being like, what the fuck do I even start with this? And it's why like looking up videos is fine, but a lot of the videos that I've seen on Unreal Engine aren't the most helpful. So I'm like, oh dear Lord, I'm never gonna learn this thing. But I also just like, I don't like feeling dumb, and I feel dumb often. So it's like when it's a new program and I'm like, okay, I gotta learn this somehow. I always feel goofy when it's like, I'm like, you know, because in school you're taught that like, or at least in the school I went to, it's like you're sort of taught that it's like, if you try it once and you don't know it, you're dumb. And I'm like, I've opened Unreal Engine like 10 times now, and I'm not a master at it. And it's like, if my second grade teacher could see me now, she'd be like, "You are a failure." And I'd be like, "You're right." So I'm like, I look at stuff now, and it's like, it's really tough trying to like not like deter myself from it, because I'm like, I really want to learn it like real badly, because I'm like, I want to make games, and I have ideas for stuff that would be really cool if I could just do it and get out of my own way, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think one of the more fun sides of doing that game development, but also messing up, is like when the code runs, like if it can run, that means like it technically does work out, but it doesn't work the way you want it to. Sometimes it looks really funny.
Yeah, you get those.
Like let's say you set some parameters like of movement speed. Let's say you set it like really, really fast. All of a sudden, like you press on the key for like a split second, and it's already on the other side of the screen. I don't know. It could be funny sometimes. So like, as far as like mistakes and stuff, like it gets frustrating when it doesn't. The term is called compile. When like when they go through the code and see if there's any like syntax errors and stuff. If it doesn't compile, then that's frustrating, because it's like, man, what am I missing? Most of the time, it's like a semicolon or something. But other times, it'll compile, but then when you go to run it, it'll look really funny and stupid. And I think it's kind of fun to like mess around, like, oh, if I like change this number, if I add a 0, like how much does it fluctuate? So sometimes it gets pretty funny.
No, I think game development is something I would really enjoy, because like this memory popped up like a couple weeks ago maybe. I took a game development course in middle school.
All right.
I want to reiterate, like, big quotations. It's like it's like saying I made a movie and I filmed my cat like eat some food, and I'm like, this is a blockbuster film right here. It was so like these people came in, and it was like, you had the laptops in that big like cage thing, and nobody fucking plugged them in. I remember I was the kid that sat there, and I would plug in all the laptops, and I'd be late for my next class, and I was like, sorry, I was plugging in laptops. And like, that's not an excuse, Matthew. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll leave them unplugged. And when the next class comes in, they're like, why are they all dead? They're gonna blame us. And I'm like, no.
You just unlocked one of my childhood memories, because we had that same thing where they would be laptops aligned in like the cart. Yeah, we had the same thing.
So that was wheeled in, and there was this guy that he wore a green like is it a polo, the one that like has the button up and the collar thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He wore that. I don't know why. I can't remember his face for some reason, but he came in. He was like, "All right, guys, we're gonna be making games today," and it was this like.
I'm gonna imagine the guy from Blue's Clues.
It was this okay. It was this like game maker course, and it was like coding I think it was block coding, actually, now that I think about it.
It was probably block code.
But it was stuff coding, that like we had to type in a few things, but it was like, oh no, that's what it was. So we made like a Minecraft game. And there was coding that I don't know if it was copyright or not. I don't know if Mojang knew about it. Maybe it was some like bootleg shit. But it would be stuff that it would show you code, and then it would be like, all right, here's how the code works, and then it would like highlight a thing, and it's like, all right, type in peanut butter. That's not the actual word, but it would be like, okay, type in this word, you type it in, and it was like, all right, like build a level and do all this stuff. And I remember building a level, and I went like buck wild with it because I really liked doing it all, and everyone else like hated this day. I remember because everyone talked about afterwards, like, that day sucked, and I liked it, but I didn't want to, peer pressure. So you're like, oh yeah, that was fucking stupid, right? And it was like, I remember sitting there making this level and like going nuts with it. I got 100%, by the way, not to flex or anything, but I got like 100% in that class. So I was kind of the greatest. I'm sure everyone else got 100% too. It wasn't a very difficult course. A lot of it was just like type in the word, and then it was like, all right, build a level, and then you build it, and you could play it. And it was like, wow, look at this. And I remember showing my friends and be like, look, I made a hill. And they're like, oh, nice. I made a straight line, and I'm done now. And it's like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, and I look back and I'm like, Maybe I just unlocked a core memory as to why I'm nervous to do game development because everyone made fun of me for it. I'll show them when they're playing my video game. They're like, wow, when I'm standing on the Game Awards, I'm saying it right now on this podcast. Just you wait.
Game of the year 2023.
2023 or 24. I'm going to be realistic here. What am I saying? I'm going to be hopeful here. And I'm gonna be standing at the Game Awards. I'm gonna go into Photoshop. I'm gonna replace my face with one of the winners and just be like, I'm gonna print that out, put it on my wall, and be like, that's gonna be me one day. I'm gonna accept the award and be like, thanks everyone for playing my game. And then that's as far as the dream has gotten. I'm gonna accept the award and then I'm gonna go home. So. That's the plan. I promise you now. I won't promise. I swear it'll happen, I'm sure. I'll do it. So just you wait. Game of the year. And then you can win like best like indie game of the year, right? Like you'll still be there, but don't steal my thunder, please.
You ever seen like it's a picture of like the podium. It's like first, second, third place, and then last place. You're still like winning. You're like, yeah.
Oh, I'll be that guy in third place with the bronze, and I'll be like popping the champagne, like, yeah. And everyone's like, you didn't even win, man. Like, yeah.
Oh, is it third place? For some reason, I think it's like last, like super dead last place.
No, it's like the podium is usually like third, second, first, and first is the tallest. And there's a meme of that guy on third place, and he's like biting the medal, and he has the.
I think that's like, what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And the confetti everywhere, and the other two are like,
that's
what are you doing, man? Yeah, no, I'm gonna be like that kid that did you watch the Game Awards this year, by the way?
No, I didn't.
I watched it. Some of it was really good. Christopher Judge, who won Best Actor for God of War Ragnarok. Sorry, he won Best Actor of like the year for games. He had like a 9-minute speech. It was extremely long. That dude is like fucking legend though. I love Christopher Judge. But he was up there for like 9 minutes, and his name is like Jeff Kingley, I think. He's the guy that like runs the Game Awards. He kept like subtly digging at it throughout the night, being like, "Oh, that's he gave away a lot of Steam Decks because it was like every minute a Steam Deck is gonna be given away on Twitch and stuff like that."
Every minute,
and he was like, "Oh, he really ran the clock there." And apparently the longest award speech before that was like 6 minutes long. So like he has like the longest award speech in history. But he was very emotional. He like took a lot of pause and stuff, and it was very sweet. The Game Awards were pretty solid. There was definitely some cringe moments, but Elden Ring. Sorry, I just peeked my mic. Elden Ring won Game of the Year, which was hype as fuck.
Nice.
I really thought Elden Ring was going to get robbed, but it did. Also, Armored Core 6 was announced, which is FromSoft's next game. I never played an Armored Core game, but it's FromSoft, so I'm going to play it. But Elden Ring won, and some fucking... you haven't seen any of this on Twitter or anything?
No.
There was a kid that... Oh, I say kid. No, yeah, he's like 15. He, one, got into the Game Awards somehow, and two... just walked up on stage with like Miyazaki and the rest of them as they went up to accept their award. He just walked up behind them like he fucking made the game. And then he went up to the mic and he was like, he said something like reform something Bill and like shout out Bill Clinton and like was just like, and it was like, what the fuck just happened? And then he got escorted off. Bruh. And then apparently he was arrested and then he's been like released and like, But it was so like, huh? Like, how the fuck did this kid get in here? I thought this was like a very like prestigious, like it's the fucking Game Awards, and some 15-year-old kid showed up and was just like, hey guys, yeah, Elden Ring is sick, but like, shout out Bill Clinton, woo. So it was super weird.
They just let him talk into the mic.
Well, he was talking for a minute because like Miyazaki and them were just kind of like, is this guy allowed to be here? And then you can see, and then like they zoomed out, and like 3 security guards are like sprinting at him, and it was like, oh shit. And the kid finished what he said, and he started walking off stage, and they like grabbed him, and then like started like escorting him towards the back. And I was like, man, that kid got a backstage pass and everything. Like, I'm kidding. He definitely got like escorted out of the fucking building.
Oh my gosh.
But there was people saying that they were like, "Oh, I wasn't allowed on the red carpet, but this kid was allowed into the building," and I was like, "Well, I'm sure they probably have a little bit more security for red carpet, but you would think they'd have a little bit more security than just some kid being able to get up on stage." Because the thing that freaked me out the most was that it's fun to meme on, not to get too serious. It's fun to meme on because it is like a very goofy thing, but it's also like that it was just some random guy that got on stage with like Miyazaki and the rest of them. It's like, what if he was like there to like stab them or something? Like he was just a troll, like just wanted to get into the mic and just be like, "Hey, Bill Clinton." But it's like, what if he was like an actual dangerous person? And it's like, holy shit, man. So the Game Awards next year are not letting anybody in. But still, it was pretty solid. The games that won were pretty cool. There was a few. I voted for most of them. I pretty much just voted Elden Ring on everything. Because, you know, I'm an Elden Ring simp. God of War Ragnarok was really good, and it did win in a lot of areas. Some of the indie games got kind of shafted. Like Stray won like 2 awards, I think. And Stray, I haven't played it, but I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, I heard it was pretty good. Yeah.
But I was kind of upset that there was like, mainly because it was like, there was games that I played that I was like, oh, I know those games, therefore I think they should win. Because it's like, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still like, you know, I was civil about it. I wasn't on Twitter sending death threats to everybody because I'm not a crazy man. But yeah, the Game Awards are pretty solid. And it would be pretty cool because the award just looks so sick. It's like an angel or something with like the wings flaring out. It just looks so cool. And I'm like, oh my God, I want that. Like, I'm going to make a game just so I get that. I want that. I don't care. Like, I don't care if I make any money from my game. I want that award. Like, maybe I'll just ask one of the previous winners, be like, hey, you guys got more than one. Can I borrow the other one? Like, by borrow, I mean have.
Can I just take a picture? Yo, let me just keep it.
Yeah, can I take a picture for my fucking Tinder profile? Like,
yeah,
this would be huge.
I'll take a picture of the trophy and I'll give you the picture and I'll take the trophy.
That's something. This is
you have like multiple of these trophies, but there's only one of me, so you can have this picture of me.
That's a good point. That's the kind of self-confidence you need. My sister was saying, last thing, I know the episode's been going on for a while. She was talking about Pokemon cards and stuff, and she was like, I don't think I'd ever sell Pokemon cards. And I was like, okay, you're telling me if you pulled a Pokemon card and it was like, yo, this thing's worth $100,000, you're not selling it? And she was like, okay, maybe I'd take a picture of it and then I'd sell it. I was like, the picture or the card? It's like, can you imagine? Jebaited. Like, she sends the card to get graded. They send it back. She's like, all right, I'll sell it. She ships it out, and it's the picture. And it's like, ha, jebaited. I'm pretty sure that's illegal, but still.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good episode.
Went on for a little bit longer than I intended. I wanted to go over the hour and a half mark because I was like, oh, I left for like 5 minutes, so I don't want to end it soon. But then I realized we went on for another like 20 minutes because I started going to therapy session for some reason. Yeah, so
thanks for tuning in to the Shūmatsu podcast.
Gotta get it in at least once. Gotta remember what the name is. I downed the entire root beer thing. It's gone, reduced to atoms. Yeah, that's all I got.
Any no more final words? All right.
Is that a threat?
Got any final words before I end it?
On God. No, I'm good. Thanks for watching. If you made it all the way here, big appreciate.
Hit the like button, please.
Yes, do that. And we'll see you possibly next week. Depends if
we're gonna talk about more Blue Lock.
Oh yeah, it's coming to an end. The first
part, possibly. Yeah.
So
we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Bye.